Chapter 17. Blood on his cuff. Moses clutched his chest as if he'd been stabbed in the heart. He wrinkled his face, contorted with grief. Matt stole another look at the lifeless body on the cart. Was that really the brave and wonderful Harry? It was too horrible to imagine. No wonder Moses and Dr. Franklin wanted to rid the colonies of the king's men for good. "What ails the old man?" someone asked. "Does he know one of the dead patriots?" asked another. Matt led Moses away from the crowd and down a narrow, dark alley. The air was foul with the stink of stale rum and rotting garbage, but they were safe there, hidden in the shadows. Matt found 2 wooden crates. "You can rest here," he told Moses. "I should have been with him. I should have protected my brother," Moses whispered hoarsely. He made a fist, the veins in his neck bulging as his voice rose in anger. "But I promise you this, young Matthew. My brother will not have died in vain. I'll see those bloodthirsty redcoats rooted out of our colonies once and for all. It's what Harry fought for and what he died for. And I've nothing but this ache in my gut and hole in my heart to steer me now." His voice cracked once more. He didn't speak for a long time after that. Together the 2 went back out to the street, where they found people going about their usual business. There were no signs of the soldiers or the wagon anywhere. They walked 4 long blocks in silence before they heard the call of a bugle and the sound of marching feet. Matt feared that it was the same ghastly procession again, but it turned out to be a small battalion of soldiers doing their daily drill. He was following Moses to a corner where a coach was parked when a soldier came up behind them. "Keep walking. Do not look back," Moses whispered, walking away from the coach. "This way," he said, turning to the left. Matt did as he was told, but he could hear the soldiers' footsteps following behind them. "Turn here," Moses said, heading down a side street. But it wasn't a side street at all. It was an alley that dead-ended into a building. "Lose your way, sir?" the soldier asked. His youthful voice echoed in the alley. "Seems I have," the old man answered coolly. The soldier casually laid his musket against the wall, and then pulled a brass flask from his coat. Matt studied his round face and rosy-colored cheeks as the soldier took a drink. He couldn't have been more than 17 or 18 years old. "Those are strange shoes and breeches you wear, lad," he said, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. "He is not from this colony," Moses quickly interjected. "I just got here," Matt added. He saw Moses blink, and in that blink he knew he'd said the wrong thing. Matt's eyes fell back on the soldier's musket and the sharpened steel of the bayonet that rested against the rough bricks. "Just got here?" The soldier's eyebrows shot up. "From where?" "From," Moses began to answer, but the soldier cut him off. "I asked the boy," he said. From the west," Matt spurted. "You recently traveled into the city with a harbor closed and roads blocked?" The soldier eyed him suspiciously. Matt's heart felt as if it would beat right out of his chest. "Perhaps you'd like to follow me to our guardhouse and explain to my captain just how you managed that miracle," the soldier said, reaching for his musket. But as he did, Moses lunged forward, and the soldier jabbed him hard in the side with his bayonet. The 2 wrestled to the ground. Matt grabbed the soldier's musket. It was heavy in his hands. Moses slammed the soldier against the wall. He hit it with a loud thud. As the young soldier slumped to the ground and went limp, Moses took the musket out of Matt's hands. "Get out of here, now!" he ordered in a breathless voice. But Matt stammered. Wait for me in the street. Go now," Moses shouted. Matt raced to the end of the alley, his heart pounding with every step. A few moments later, Moses joined him in the street. His steely gaze invited no questions, but when he caught Matt staring at the blood on his cuff and seeping through his jacket, he frowned. "Give me your coat now," he ordered. "Is he dead?" Matt whispered as he slipped out of the big coat and handed it over. Moses nodded. His face was white as ash and his hands were trembling. He was hardly old enough to grow a beard. Matt swallowed hard. "Then why did you have to kill him?" Moses frowned. "If I had let him live, we would both have been swinging by hangman's noose by noon tomorrow. This war is madness," Moses said, his voice trailing off. "And no one is spared. Not him, nor my Harry. No one." Just then another soldier appeared in the distance. "Now run, boy, run!" Moses ordered. Matt ran as fast as he could. He looked back once to see Moses disappear around a corner with the soldier on his heels. Matt crossed the street. He was running so fast he ran straight into the same trio of redcoats they had seen earlier. "What's your hurry, lad?" one of them growled, grabbing Matt's arm. "Where are you running to, then?" another soldier demanded. Matt's head was suddenly swimming. He had to say something quick. The soldier tightened his grip. "I was just playing with my friends," Matt managed to lie. "Did you see which way they went?" "Playing with your friends?" asked the soldier, giving Matt a hard shake. "Well, watch your step, boy, for you wouldn't want to run into the end of my saber, would you?" The other soldiers laughed. The three continued down the street. Matt shrank back against the building in a cold sweat. Harry was dead. Moses was gone. And the redcoats were everywhere. "What will I do now?" Matt thought. "What am I going to do?" Chapter 18. Topsy-Turvy. Days passed in the Hewson household, and the mood had turned as gray as the ash in the bucket beside the hearth. Little Patience continued to burn with fever. Her mother refused to leave her side. The servants whispered among themselves that their worry that the pox had descended upon the house. All the doctor could say was, "Only time will tell." Meanwhile, the sky over Boston was filled with snow clouds, and the house on Milk Street grew dark and drafty. Wood was in short supply in the city, and even the wealthy could no longer afford to have a fire in every room. Katy and the twins sat before the sewing-room hearth, where the Hewson girls worked on their embroidery samplers. As a distant boom of cannon fire sounded from outside the windows, Master Hewson was quick to assure everyone that there was nothing to worry about. "General Howe and the King's men are keeping the city safe from the rebels," he told them. "Our colonies will soon be restored to order under His Majesty's law." "He doesn't have a clue about what's going to happen," Lily whispered as the three spoke quietly among themselves. "I wish we could go home," Emma whispered back glumly. "Can't we just leave now and go look for Matt?" Katy whispered. "You heard what Mistress Hewson said. The streets are too dangerous, and when we do leave, you'll have to be able to run." "You can barely stand now," Lily reminded her. Katy looked down at her ankle, which was blue and swollen, with a nasty oozing cut running across the top. She still cried out in pain every time she took a step. No, they weren't going anywhere for a while. To pass the time, the Hewson sisters taught Katy and the twins to sing songs and rounds, and to play Mr. Redcap, Cat and Mouse, and other fun games. They even made a game of trading hair ribbons. Katy tore a bright yellow bow off her dress and traded it for one of Charity's blue velvet hair ribbons, which she wore as a headband to hold back her curls. They told one another their favorite stories and roasted chestnuts on the hearth. "Katy, would you like to help me work on my sampler?" asked Charity. "I've never used a needle and thread before," Katy told her. "A girl of 7 years, and you don't know how to sew?" Faith exclaimed. "'Tis most unfortunate," added Hope, clicking her tongue. "She shall never find a husband." "You needn't worry, Katy," Charity assured her, "for I shall teach you everything I know." While Charity taught Katy how to thread a needle, Lily taught Mercy a secret handshake that she and her friends had made up back home. "You lock pinkies and touch thumbs," Lily said, demonstrating, "and you can only use it with your very best friends." Mercy smiled as they locked pinkies and touched thumbs. "Best of friends?" she whispered. "Best of friends," Lily whispered back. The other girls resumed their storytelling and singing, but no matter how many songs they sang, or how cozy the fire felt, they had only to move a few feet away from it to feel the pockets of chill in the cold, darkened house. The sound of cannon fire grew louder each day. At night, the fear of the pox swirled through their dreams. And of all their fears and worries, the same one always stood out above the rest. How would they ever get back home? One day, Mercy entered the sewing room with the baby in her arms, wrapped in a woolen shawl. "Papa has sent for the doctor again," she said gravely. "The doctor now feels sure that Patience has the pox." "Mercy," Charity asked, "will Patience die?" "Cook says that if you think it, it will be so," Faith told her. "I can't stop thinking it," Charity said, bursting into tears. "Papa!" Mercy cried, seeing her father in the doorway. "What news of Patience?" Faith asked as she and her sisters gathered around him. "Will she ever get better?" asked Hope. Her father's eyes welled with tears. "God willing," he said. "Dr. Brenner is with her now." Then he paused and turned to Katy. "And I think it wise to let him see your ankle while he is here." "Will he give me a shot?" Katy asked. "I hate shots." Lily pinched Katy hard. "Shots haven't been invented yet," she whispered sharply into Katy's ear. "No need to be frightened," Master Hewson said to Katy. "You must think of us as your safe harbor while you are here in the colonies." His words wrapped around the girls like a hug. But he was the enemy. How could someone be so kind and also be your enemy? Master Hewson slipped the small wooden penny whistle from his vest pocket and brought it to his lips. They all grew quiet as the soft, gentle notes of their favorite lullaby filled the room. Even the baby stopped fussing and cooed. Katie and the twins joined the Houston girls as they sang sweetly in their favorite round. Lavender's blue, diddle diddle, lavender's green. When I am king, diddle diddle, you shall be queen. For a few precious moments, all of their cares and worries over fevers and mobs, shortages and soldiers were swept away by a song. Papa, Hope said when the song was over, is it true that if General Washington took over the city, we'd not be able to sing Rule Britannia anymore? Why, I would challenge any man to a duel who dare stop me and my penny whistle from playing a tune for my girls. Thankfully, we still have King George's soldiers here in the city. I have total faith they will keep that scoundrel Washington and his rebel hotheads at bay. Cook says that Patsy Reynolds' mother is spinning flax for the rebel soldiers, and that her father will not allow them to brew English tea, Faith announced. I think it horrid that they are so disloyal to our king, Hope declared. Lily wished she could tell them that staying loyal to King George was the wrong thing to do. If only she could tell them that the king was going to lose the war. If only she could tell them they were on the wrong side. One must always stand by one's own convictions, Master Houston said. But how do you know that you are right? Lily asked. There was a sad weariness in Master Houston's eyes that Lily hadn't seen before, but his voice was gentle as ever. To be honest with you, there was once a time I thought I knew all of the answers, he said with a half smile. But now I don't know. Everything feels so topsy-turvy. So many are clamoring for change. But isn't change a good thing? Lily persisted. Loyalty and obedience are God's way, Master Houston said. Rebelliousness is the way of the devil. We must remain true to our king, and be thankful for all God has blessed us with. But some people in the colonies are starving. Wouldn't change be better for them? Asked Lily. Master Houston sighed. In the end, I find I can only be true to my beliefs. I have to provide for my family, as my love for them is what guides me. Lily's heart sank. How would she ever be able to change his mind in time? Papa, will you play Lavender's Blue again? Faith begged. No, play the Nightingale, pleaded Charity. When I return from looking in on patients, he promised, I shall play you all the tunes you wish, for a fee of hugs and kisses, of course. With a wink, he blew a few notes on his whistle, and his girls covered him with kisses. Once he had left the room, Lily looked anxiously at her twin. Their hosts were loyal to a king who wanted to squash George Washington and the rebellion. There was pox in the house, a disease that could spread and kill everyone. And all Master Houston could do was play songs in his penny whistle. Their safe harbor didn't feel very safe at all. A short while later, as the girls continued their games, they heard a blood-curdling scream. They've begun to bleed Patience, Mercy said. Lily's face went white. Bleed her? Yes, to rid her body of any ill humors, Faith explained. The doctor has brought a big bottle full of leeches that he'll use to suck out her blood, Mercy added. And he thinks Katie should be bled as well. Katie? Lily and Emma cried together. Of course, Mercy nodded. He says the leeches will do the wound on her ankle a world of good.